attraction-based marketing, not just any type of attraction-based marketing, incentive-based attraction marketing. So we're going to hear more about that in a moment. Hey, John, welcome to the Business and Wealth Show here.
Thank you very much, Mac, and hopefully my Aussie accent will be something that people can understand.
Or cherish even, so it is absolutely fine. So, hey, John, let's get straight into it. I'm always intrigued by people's entrepreneurial background, but I'm going to come to that in a moment. But just tell our audience here, what is it you do currently, and how you make a difference to your clients?
Good, mate. Thank you very much. Look, we are a direct response marketing agency. My business is called the Institute of Wow. And I guess with a wanky name like that, we fall into the category of show-offs, and we are. And the reason I called it the Institute of Wow, well, number one was because when I decided to set the business up, the Wow Institute, which would have been better, wasn't available. Isn't that just awful when you go on and you think you've got a good name, but it got taken 10 years ago. Yeah. So we went with Plan C or Plan D, which was the Institute of Wow.com. And what it is, as the name infers, is all about teaching business owners, including coaches and consultants, which I know is a lot of your list, just how to add wow factor to their offers. Because most businesses, Mac, and you do similar sort of stuff to I do, and that is provide business advice. But most businesses just revert to price discounting when they want to get more money. Right. And so therefore they drop their prices, and that's about it. And what we show them is stop doing that, because it takes your brand from the penthouse to the basement, and replace what normally would have been price discounted with what we call a wow factor. And that wow factor normally is an incentive.
It's some form of incentive. Okay, fantastic. I want to get more into what that means and how it works in a moment. So tell us your entrepreneurial background, because I know you've done some amazing stuff with what you've been doing currently, helping business owners. You've worked with great building society, you've worked with McDonald's, you've worked with all these big chains. But how did you start off as an entrepreneur many, many years ago?
Yeah, well, look, I was born in 1820. And Mac, the reason I bring that up, I'm showing off, but a couple of the clients who came on board who went back through my bio, because I on the instituteofwow.com, I've created a pretty big website with lots and lots and lots and lots of case studies, and you've done the same, and I applaud you for that, because really you can normally tell someone's validity based on the history. And so I just figure that because, you're never going to be talking face to face with people, you may as well show off and put all of your case studies on your website. So I have, and you could be scrolling for quite a few hours on the instituteofwow.com because I'm a show off. And really, at the end of the day, I've had people say, look, there's a whole bunch of stuff there. Were you born in the 1800s? I go, yes, I was. But it's really rinse and repeat. I mean, I have to pour some cold water on the enthusiasm that you might have for my background, because despite the fact I think there's some clever ideas there, it's basically the same thing over and over and over and over again. I just tweak it to suit that particular industry. And so what might work for real estate will probably work, would you believe, for dentistry, and it will probably work for solar, and it will probably work for accountancy. These things that we've put together, and I think we've been a little smart about it, is a formula that pretty much works for any business. And over the years, I've been fortunate enough to deal with the bigger businesses. So as you said, McDonald's and KFC and Rupert Murdoch's newspapers, we did all the scratch bingos for him, and so on and so forth. But it's the same thing, just with a different twist. And I guess if you asked me, well, what is wow factor marketing? Mostly it's what I think you would be very familiar with, Mac, and that is direct response tactics. It's all about providing someone with a wow and doing it in a way that has a deadline ethic attached to it. And that's really what direct response marketing is all about: making an offer, fixing someone's problems, and then putting a deadline against the offer.
So using the same strategies and techniques, you managed to pull Jerry Seinfeld out of retirement to do a promotion. Yeah. Tell us about that.
Well, it's funny, Mac. I've milked the daylights out of that since I did it, as one would, because obviously it's a pretty big curve.
And it's all marketing.
I am such a terrible show-off about that guess what? Over the period that I did the stuff with Jerry, where I'd fly from Australia to New York and we'd make the TV commercials for my client, which happened to be a bank, Jerry said to me on the second year, and I'd fly back quite a few times, for meetings and this, that, and the other. And I enjoyed doing it because it allowed me at the airport to show off. When the customs guy was checking my bags, he'd say, "What are you here for?" You know how like they say, "What business are you here for?"
That's right.
And I'd just show, "Oh, look, I've got a meeting with Jerry Seinfeld," and no one would believe me. He'd just look at me and go, "Oh, yeah, sure. I go, "No, I've really got a." Anyway, on the second year, I remember having a coffee with Jerry when we were making one of the TV commercials. And I said to him, "Mate, you don't have a website." And he didn't at the time. So this was 10 years ago, right? And he didn't have a website. And I said, "Do you realize how many caps and T-shirts you could sell like Seinfeld?" And he had his reading glasses on, and he did the school principal thing where he dropped the reading glasses to his nose. I thought, "Oh, God, what's going to happen here?" He goes, "JD, my name's John Dwyer, but I get JD." He said, "JD, do I look like I need to sell any caps or T-shirts?" And I said, "I'm sorry, I forgot you've got more money than God." But how that came about was that I had a client called the Greater Building Society here in Australia. And look, they're a challenger brand, which means they're not Wells Fargo. They're not the big banks in Australia, but they were the 250th biggest business in Australia. So they were no small business. And they brought me on as a consultant. And when I looked at their business, guess what they were doing, Mac? Price discounting. That they would say, "Get a home loan for 4.2%, and the big banks would be 4.1% before 5 minutes, and then they'd go down to 4, and it was a race to the bottom, the usual price discount rubbish." Yeah. And I said, "Look, why don't you take their eyes off the price? I'm doing some infomercials on television at the moment with a travel wholesaler. How about I introduce you to them? And instead of giving a 1% honeymoon rate, which all the banks do, on, let's say, $500,000 home loan, that means that they'd give Mr. and Mrs. Smith a $5,000 break for the first year. Give that $5,000 to a travel company that I was doing the TV commercials for, and they'll give you a $10,000 holiday because they're a wholesaler." And they said, "Okay, smart Alec, we'll give it a shot, and we'll test it for 3 months to see whether or not you're a moron." And as it turns out, now Seinfeld was not involved for 5 years. So the first 5 years, basically, we came on TV and on YouTube and on Facebook and said, "Get a home loan from the Greater and get a free holiday." And it, in the first 2 years, brought in an extra $15 billion worth of home loans.
15 billion. Wow.
You got it. And this is tiny little Australia compared to you guys who are America. We're a dot in the ocean. And the idiot who you've got on this podcast, which is me, didn't charge a percentage of the increase in home loan.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so you should name this podcast, Mac, an interview with a moron. That's what you probably should have said. Because if I had been smart enough to get a percentage on the increase of the home loans, I would have bought a private island, and I probably would not be talking to you right now. But Absolutely. No, they looked after me quite well with a monthly consultancy thing. But yeah, I was an idiot for not doing a door deal. But anyway, it went nuts. And then about 4 or 5 years into the promotion, they said to me, "Listen, can we maybe, sort of go up a level from working class, because that's what a building society attracts, working class people, to maybe doctors and dentists?" And I said to them, "You've mistaken me for David Copperfield. No, a doctor or dentist is not going to go to a credit union or a building society. I'm sorry, right?" And I said, "Look, leave it with me. We might be able to get to middle management, white collar workers." So a mate of mine was doing the Billy Connolly ads in Australia at the time. Yeah. And Billy Connolly was the spokesperson for a bank called the ING. And so therefore I said, "How did you do it?" He told me how he got Billy Connolly. I used the same technique. I won't bore your watchers or your viewers with it, but I used the same technique. And to my surprise and delight, of course, Jerry said yes. I put it to Jerry Seinfeld. I said, "Look, all you've got to do is basically stand outside one of a mock-up building society that we can do down the road from where he lives and take the piss out of all the other banks." And he said, "John, I can do that. I take the piss for a living."
There you go. Awesome. Yeah. What a coup. What a coup. Now you've whet our appetites with your kind of work. Let's delve deeper into direct response, incentive-based marketing. What is it? Why is it important? And what makes it different from other types of marketing that someone may be doing? They may be doing Facebook ads or Instagram ads, or putting stuff in newspapers or magazines. Go ahead.
I'll give you one campaign that I've used for myself as a coach, and I would suggest that because a large part of your audience are coaches and consultants, this should, and I never guarantee it because there's variables, but this should double, triple, quadruple their coaching clients within a week. Okay, I got your attention, didn't I? So I told you I'm an attention seeker. I'm an attention seeker.
Well, that's what marketing is all about.
In fact, Mac, before I show off, I didn't finish that story. When I was doing the second of 3 years with Seinfeld, so I'd fly over to New York and we built a fake building society in an empty shop. So therefore, basically, he stood outside the fake building society and just pretended that he was doing street comedy again. And that was the essence of the TV commercial. So people were walking past shopping and, of course, they just ignored him. And, of course, he reckoned that he'd lost his gloss because he'd been, retired for a few years. So it was very, very funny. And as it turned out, when I highlighted to him, I was surprised he didn't have a website. He said, "Why would I need a website, JD? I've looked on your instituteofwow.com. I'm on there more than you are."
Well, there you go. Biggest.
Yeah. So getting back to direct response, mate. Look, it comes down to 5 components. Number one, and you'll see all the weight loss programs use this on morning TV, and it's highlight someone's problem. Are you overweight? Aggravate that problem. Do you know that spring and summer are just around the corner? Wouldn't you like to feel better in your swimsuit? Number 3, have a call to action, and that is come on the Jenny Craig program, and you can look like a supermodel within 4 weeks. Number 4 is a proof, in other words, testimonials. I used to be overweight and unhappy. Now I'm a supermodel. And then number 5 is a call to action. So it's problem, aggravate problem, give the solution, provide proof, which is testimonials, and then a call to action. Nobody does it. Less than 3% of all businesses in the world have ever touched direct response marketing.
Wow, 3%.
3%. And you can talk to Dan Kennedy or any one of the gurus in America. Yeah. I've been a member of all of their programs. Joe Polish. I mean, I've hung around with Russell Brunson for a couple of days and brainstormed all those guys who are the thought leaders. And they will agree that less than 3% of business owners in the world have ever tried direct response marketing. And they fall into the category that a lot of people do, and that is brand building. And there's nothing wrong with that if you've got McDonald's or Coca-Cola's budget. But if you are looking to put food on the table tomorrow, then there's a pretty good chance that brand building is going to take a lot longer than that to put food on the table. And in the coach's instance, if I ever need more clients, and we all do from time to time, then I just run a campaign on Facebook, and it'll be me talking to the camera, and it'll say, "How would you like to win a free consultancy with me worth X dollars?" You can pick your number, 5 or 10 or 20, whatever it might be. Simply click the link, go through to a landing page where you give me your details, and you're in with a chance. Well, guess what? We get 100, 200, 500 people who come through and say, "Look, I want to do a coaching program with this marketing guru." Guess what? We draw one and we do give it away, but there's 499 others who have just put their hand up and glowed in the dark and said, "I want you."
Yes.
So easy. And how that came about, I was doing the same campaign for a lot of my clients. There was a guy, God love him, he was about 104 years of age, and he said to me, after one of my seminars, he comes up and he said to me, "Oh, JD, that face page doesn't work." I said, "It's called Facebook. That's the problem." And he said, "Oh, Facebook, whatever it is, He said, "Look, I've got an aluminium fence company, and I've been advertising on Facebook, and I've been gearing up towards the areas that have older homes because obviously they've got a falling down paling fence." And so he said, "My aluminium fence would be ideal." I said, "Okay, well, at least geographically, you've picked the right audience, the older homes." And he said, "Well, I'm not getting any response." I said, "Well, let me have a look at your ad." I looked at his ad, and guess what? He fell into the problem. He fell into the basket that a lot of businesses do, and that is he showed a picture of an aluminium fence. And I said, that would be like Arnold Schwarzenegger showing pictures of gymnasium equipment. He shows the benefit, not the features. I said, "You've just shown the feature, not the benefit." He said, "Well, what do I do? What do I do?" I said, "Get out of the way and let us fix it for you." So he got out of the way, and we ran the ugliest back fence in Australia contest. So basically on Facebook, we came out, we showed all these falling down paling fences on the ad, and it basically said, "Click here and go through to enter to win an aluminium fence makeover. But you wait for it, you've got to take a photo of your ugly falling down fence and post it to our Facebook page for the chance to win." We spent $702 on 3 days on Facebook, and he had 6 months worth of leads. We had to close it down after 3 days. Not only did they glow in the dark and put their hand up and go, "We've got a shit fence, we want a new one," but they actually took a photo of it.
Wow. I mean, all the leads you would want for 6 months. Amazing.
And we do the same thing. We do the same thing for kitchens. So for kitchen renovations, we go to older suburbs with Facebook or Instagram, and we just say, you could win the ugliest kitchen in Australia contest. So they take a photo of their 30-year-old kitchen and they post it. And then, of course, guess what? He's not only got a lead, but he's got a photo of their completely screwed up kitchen. You don't get a hotter lead than that.
Absolutely. Well, fantastic. Tell me about your incentive-based system that you have with about the holidays and that kind of promotion that also generates leads for people?
Thank you, Mac. I appreciate you asking that. And look, these days, because and look, before we switched on the podcast, you were saying to me, look, what is the essence of our business now? And I said to you, look, we still do the consultancy, but what we found with a lot of businesses, particularly those that are doing less than $1 million turnover a year, they're looking for it done for you. And look, so am I. When I'm on acreage where we live on the Gold Coast in Australia, and so I've got quite a bit of grass to grow, and my freedom to get away from cabin fever is of a weekend. I get out of the damn office and jump on this ride on. I just put the earmuffs on and go up and down and don't talk to anyone, right? And if it breaks, then it's worse than a marriage breakup. I mean, if my mower breaks and my life just collapsed, So there was this old guy last week come out to fix it. And Gail was not home. My wife was not home. So he rings the doorbell and I'm in the middle of something in front of the computer. I don't want to talk to her. And he said, look, you're the husband. I said, yes, I am. Because Gail had organised for him to come. He said, I want to talk to you about your ride-on mower. And I go, oh, yeah, righto what? And he said, look, you need a new carburettor, but if you go down the road, there's a second-hand carburettor. I said, stop there. I don't even know what a carburettor is. Right. I don't want to go down the road because this is not really my forte. How about I'll give you $4 million if you just fix the mower and get out of my life? And he said to me, okay, sarcastic. I said, look, I'm sorry, but I don't have time. I don't care about just here's for me. And I'm joking, of course. And the reason I bring that story up is because I find that most business owners, it doesn't matter how many ugly back fence stories or ugly kitchen, it doesn't matter what I tell them, because they're so busy, they don't have time to implement it. Yeah. And so what we've done, we've taken the adage that, okay, if they don't have time to implement, just give them package promotion. So what we do now is that we put together, whether it be fuel discounts or whether it be holidays or anything, $1 million draws, you name it, we just give it to them as a package so that it's really hard for them to screw it up. And they just set and forget. And one of those is as a result of the success of this building society home loan, Get a Holiday, a company in America contacted us a little while back, and they said, look, we've got access to unsold 4-star hotels right around the world. And we're talking, your big hotel chains like your Holiday Inns. And they're in London, they're in Europe, they're in the United States, they're in Asia. And basically these hotels are running at about 30% vacancy factor for 40 weeks of the year. School holidays, they're booked out. So Christmas and Easter and school vacations, they don't have any spare rooms. But for the rest of the year, about a third of their rooms every night are empty. So they're happy to give up those rooms for free, hoping that whoever stays there as a free guest will spend money on food and beverage, and that's where they make their money. So they said to me, look, this travel company that gets access to this brilliant concept said to me, look, you seem to have half a clue when it comes to marketing. We've seen what you did with the Building Society. Would you like to join forces with us and maybe pay us a royalty fee? And you put together, I guess, a Happy Meal promotion for businesses. And I said, sure. And that's what we've done. So what we've done is that we've packaged these holidays into units of 50, and we sell them for £49 each. The holidays are normally 3 to 7 nights throughout Spain, UK, Glasgow, Scotland, Italy, France, you name it, right throughout Europe and right throughout America. And they're 3 to 7 nights. I mean, in Bali, it's 7 nights, whereas perhaps in London, it might be 3 nights. But they're 3 to 7 night vacations at 4-star resorts, which we make available to businesses for £49. And what they do then is that they use that as a Happy Meal toy to encourage people to buy their refrigerator or their pool cleaning service or whatever it might be. Simple as that. It's basically the best way that I can explain it is that coming off COVID, of course, what is the hottest, incentive I guess you could give anyone? Well, obviously it's a holiday. So we're pretty busy with it at the moment. Yeah, which is good.
Awesome. So what I'm hearing you say is basically anyone, it doesn't matter what you're selling. You're selling fridges, you're selling consultancy, you're selling coaching, you're selling hairdressing, whatever it is, what you can offer your clients is something. So you provide these low-cost holiday rooms available, hotel rooms available that people can acquire. Then they can give it away for free or add it, put something else on top, a margin on top, and package it so it becomes more attractive, because people do want to go on vacation. They want to go away. They want to come away from their hometown and go somewhere else. And so how's all that been working now? And how's the uptake on it?
Look, we had a tough period throughout COVID, and we got the license for this about 4 months out from COVID. And I just advertised it on social media, and we had to get trucks to, I mean, it sounds, I'm being sarcastic, but we had to get trucks to pick up the money. It was just the easiest thing I've ever had to sell. And then, unfortunately, of course, 4 months into me being a boastful know-all, because I've come across the retirement package, so guess what? COVID hit. I said to my wife, I said, I have to be Mr. Unlucky. We've come across the retirement package. This is the best thing I've ever seen in my life. Every business is clamoring to give us the £49. In Australia, it's $97, but £49. Wow. And all of a sudden, disease hits the world where no one can travel.
Wow.
So anyway, we asked the travel company, could we actually have drivable locations in Australia, because no one could fly. And that's how we skated through. We're able to give businesses still the opportunity to give away holidays, but they were drivable holidays. And now, of course, in the last 12 months since COVID's gone away, we're back to normal, and it's been huge, absolutely massive. And, real estate agents use it to get appraisals. So instead of just putting a letterbox flyer in the letterbox saying, look, we've got buyers in the area, we'd like to find out the average price of homes, would you like us to give an appraisal? Now they say, would you like us to give an appraisal, and we'll give you a free vacation, a free holiday. So they get as many appraisals as they like. Other businesses, basically, they do it on the basis that if you buy my product, whatever that might be, we'll give you a free holiday. Coaches and consultants, which I know is a lot of your audience, my view with them is to use it, pretty much what I said before, and that is to keep people to the end of their webinar, or to get people to book a Zoom call, or to actually get people to turn up to the seminar. Because at the end of the day, you and I both know as coaches, if we've got 100 people in the room and we have a 15 or 20% close, you're going to make more money than if you've got 30 people in the room. And so what we say is that next time you hold a seminar or a webinar, just invite people to come. And if they stay to the end, they get one of these. It's going to be blurry because idiot me put the blurry background on, but this is just basically the voucher. You give them a voucher if they stick with you. And of course, guess what? Instead of people leaving the webinar halfway through, they will stay to the end and hear your pitch.
Fantastic. So real estate, I've heard, I know it can be done for any product or service. Coaches and consultants, I've heard. Do you have any, you're from the Institute of Wow, you're the founder of Institute of Wow. Have you had an incident where someone's used this and they've just called you and say, JD, wow. I mean, what was the story? What blew them away? What were they doing before? And then suddenly they did this, skyrocketed. They just couldn't believe it.
You are the best interviewer, Mac, because you give me such a wonderful lead in to show off. I really appreciate that. Yeah. Because there is a bucket load of them. And look, if anyone wants to go to funescapes.co.uk, you'll see a bunch of testimonials on there. But yeah, so look, I'll give you a couple. One was a solar dealership. He took it on. And by the way, if you said to me, are there some companies that take it on and don't do it properly and therefore they don't get the success out of it? Yes, of course there is. And they're the same people who join the gym in January and don't lift any weights, and they wonder why they don't have the muscle. So it's all about, as you well know, implementation. But if they join the dots and we even give the first month of Facebook ad management for free because we don't trust them. We say, look, we want you to go through these vacation vouchers pretty quickly because then you'll come back and we'll both get rich. So therefore what we do, so they don't give it to their daughter or son-in-law to do all their Facebook ads. We actually provide them with the Facebook ads, landing page, messenger bot, the whole thing for free for the first month. They have to decide whether they spend 20 or 50 pounds a day on Facebook. That's entirely up to them. But we do all the expensive stuff, which is the advertisements and the landing page and all of that free of charge, because we've been doing this for a little while now. So we know the headline that works. Anyway, so the thing is that this particular guy is a solar dealer, and you would be no different in the UK to what it is in Australia. There's 4 million solar dealers, and they all look and sound the same. Yeah. I mean, it's a silver panel you put on the roof, for God's sake. Yeah. And one will argue that, ours come from America instead of China, so they're better. But look, for Mrs. Housewife, who makes a decision, pretty much a solar panel is a solar panel.
Yeah.
So it's what we call a Me Too industry, which most industries are. Everything is the same as everyone else, so it's Me Too. So I said to this guy, look, why don't you actually just say that if they buy your $5,000 solar package or 3 or whatever it is, you just give them a family holiday. It's a family holiday, so it's 2 children up to 12 can stay in the same room, right? And he told me after just 4 months of running it, he said this has been, and his testimonials on our website because it's a good one. It's funny, Mac, you and I, we never put bad testimonials on our website.
It's all about marketing, huh?
It always amazes me when someone says, go and have a look at my testimony. Oh, you reckon? I don't think there's going to be a bad one. So anyway, but look, I didn't pay him any beer. He said it for free. And he just basically said, look, what happened is that because they are a Me Too industry, when he or one of his salespeople go into a home, normally they've got, they look at the kitchen bench and the housewife has 3 or 4 different quotes and they're all within a few $100s of each other. And he said, so what I do now is I say to them, and my sales guys say to her, listen, if you make a decision by 5 o'clock today, I can see that you've got 3 or 4 quotes there, but if you make a decision by 5 o'clock today, I will give you a free family holiday. And you can travel anywhere in Australia, New Zealand, Bali, Fiji, UK, Europe, America. He said, not only does she say yes on the spot, but she doesn't look at the price. Wow. And he said that his conversion rate went from 42 to 88% overnight.
Amazing. Great tool.
But you think about it. I mean, I've got 6 children and they're growing up and left home now. But, we had 6 kids in a pretty noisy car, under 12, 6 under 12. Yeah. And we only got through that period with a degree of sanity because of McDonald's. If we were going past the Golden Arches, we would get 6 Happy Meals and I could not tell you what they cost. They took our eyes off the price because of that damn toy. Yeah. And that's what this is. Kellogg's have been doing it since you and I were children. They got a toy in the bottom of the cornflakes pack. Prime with Amazon, the Prime program, that's a classic incentive-based marketing thing. You get free shipping and free movies and free music and all that. So these companies, mainly the big ones, are doing it really well. Small companies have never done it because they just don't know how. They haven't been, so they sponsor the local little basketball team with the logo of their butcher shop on the back. But having been to quite a few junior soccer games, I've never seen anybody go, number 6, can you just slow down? I want to get the butcher's number on the back.
No, it doesn't happen. No. Hey, listen, John, for those who want to know more, want to connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that or get involved in this type of marketing?
Mate, I really appreciate that. And so if they do want to interact with a mad show-off like me with very bad dad jokes, then, what they can do is just email me at john@theinstituteofwow.com. So it's John, JOHN, at theinstituteofwow.com. A lot of people actually forget the "the," so it's John@theinstitute.
The Institute of Wow.
Give me one second. You know what I'm going to do? Because
while he's taking a sip. Oh, you got your green juice. You got your green juice?
Oh no, you got a green juice.
I've got a green juice. Okay. So while he's sitting there, John,
healthy. That's just a colour. There's nothing in there.
Oh, I thought it looked very healthy. So it's at the instituteofwow.com. Is that what you were going to say?
Yeah, mate. Now that the frog is out of my throat, it's john@theinstituteofwow.com. Excellent.
And you mentioned funescapes.co.uk as well earlier.
Exactly. If you're interested in the holiday program, it's funescapes.co.uk. Yeah.
Fantastic. Awesome. You've been listening to JD, John Dwyer from Australia, talking about direct response marketing, incentive-based marketing, and free holidays as well. Check it out. funescapes.co.uk. Also contact him if you want to have a natter and you have a chat and talk about your marketing as well. John at the Institute of Wow.com. So remember to like, share, follow, or subscribe, depending on which channel you are on. Share this with your friends, your associates, your colleagues, and also make any comments. What did you just pick up? And you may have to watch this again because John talks quickly. He's added a lot of value here. You may want to listen to this again so you pick up what he's saying. Make some comments as well so that we know what you got out of it. John, before we go, any final words, anything you want to add that you haven't said already that will also help our listeners?
Yeah. The only thing, Mac, I would suggest if anyone's going to watch this back again, just play it at half speed. That way my voice won't come out so quickly. Okay. But aside from that, I'm glad you asked this question because at the end of, you and I do lots of webinars and podcasts and all that sort of stuff. And generally speaking, the question towards the end is, what would you tell your 21-year-old self? Blah, blah, blah. And something that I find gets a little bit of attention, and I give it to my 6 millennial kids. I don't know how many of them listen to it, but I always say to them, and I would say to any entrepreneur, hang around with people like you who say, why not? Not people who say why. And the reason I say that is because I was silly enough in my early career to be hanging around people who were left-brained, So that means they're more operationally minded, they're more accountancy minded. And I would give them some ideas at the time of, potential opportunities, and they go, oh, why? But why? But why? And then I woke up to myself and hung around people who were more entrepreneurial. And it was just a real pleasure to hear why not. Like I say to them, and I'm not saying you'd say why not to a crazy idea, but if the idea had some maths and science behind it, it was just a real pleasure to hear them go, you know what, JD? Yeah, why not? And my advice to anyone, hang around some why nots.
Awesome share. So on that note, I want to say thank you all for tuning in. JD, thank you for adding so much value today. I really, really appreciate it. Take care. God bless. Much love. Take care. And we'll speak soon. Bye for now.